Hi, this is Mrs. Zhu, and we are working on homework 1. This homework will be in quarter 3 grades. So we did number 1 in class. The answer, if you want to check it, is $16.10. The discounted price was $23.90 that they saved, but since we're just looking for the sale price to the nearest cent, our answer is $16.10. On tonight's homework, you must show work. You must always be showing work for all of your homework assignments, or I will ask you to redo it. So please make sure you show your work. So let's look at number 2. If I have $72 and I want to take a 20% discount, that is basically saying I want to take 20% of the $72 that I have. Now the word of in math means multiplication. So I'm going to multiply 20% times 72. Now 20%, I first want to change it to a decimal. So the decimal for 20% is going to be 0.20 times that, I'm going to use a parentheses, with the price that is $72. I could simply use my calculator and I will get $14.4. 14.4 is the same as $14.40. Good. So I get to save that amount. So then my new sale price, which I have to take the original minus the discounted price. So this is my discounted price. My original was $72. I'm going to subtract $14.40. It is definitely important that I line up my decimals with dollars and cents. So here for the $72, I need to add a decimal and 2 zeros for the 0 cents in $72. Then when I subtract, my final answer will be $57.60 is the price that I need to pay on this game. And if I use a calculator, then I don't need to worry about lining up the decimals. It will do it automatically for me. Okay. Now in class, I was showing you how to do the percentages in a mental way, mentally, so that you didn't have to show all of your work. But as you're writing that down today, make sure that you still show me your work. So it could simply just be an equation. Just tell me what you subtract. So the work that you see that I have here is definitely enough. All right, let's try number 4. Number 4 is I've got $10.99 for the CD. I get 25% off. Now let's talk about 25%, because I could simply just take 25% and change it to a decimal and write 0.25 and then multiply that with the $10.99. Now if I do that in my calculator, I will simply get $2.7475. Now I am rounding to the nearest cent. Now nearest cent means the penny. Round to the penny, which is this number, the hundredths place value in the decimal. So if I round the 4, I either keep it a 4 or I round it up to 5. So I do want to look at the number 7 here next to it on the right, and because 7 is 5 or larger, I'm going to round 2.7 and the 4 up to a 5. So approximately I'm going to save $2.75. So then I'm going to take the original price, $10.99, and subtract $2.75, giving me a total of $8.25. I don't even need to put that in the calculator, really. It would have taken me probably even longer when I could simply subtract it. 9 minus 5, is actually 4, and then 9 minus 7 is 2, and 10 minus 2 is 8. So that's how much I paid for the CD. Now another way, and I wanted to point out that 25%, was rather than multiplying $10.99 with 20.25, because 25%, if I were to draw a bar and say that the entire bar is $10.99, and I want to split it up so that the bar represents 25%, then I would be dividing this bar into 4 pieces. And because I'm dividing into 4 pieces, each piece would be 25%, okay, which is also a specific amount of money, which we calculated as $275 approximately, okay. So I could have taken $10.99 and divided it by 4 and still gotten 2.7475 and rounded again that to 275. So I could divide by 4 when I have a 25%, or I could do the decimal point of 25% and multiply it with $10.99. Okay, so let's look at number 8 then. So since I have $64, I want 25% off. So I'm going to multiply that with 0.25, or I could take 64 and divide it by 4. Now that's pretty easy to do in our head. 64 divided by 4, we could get that as 16. So if you wanted to multiply or divide, you would still get $16. That's their savings. So let me just visually help you see that. If I drew a bar and divided into 4 pieces, now the whole bar represents $64. The whole bar, all of the whole thing. Now each quarter piece is $16. So if I save 25%, I get to save $16. So the price that I pay is going to be 64 minus $16, or I could take $16 and times it by 3, okay, and that's going to give me the answer of $48 for this video game that I saved 25% of. Let's look at number 11. In number 11, we have a radio. It's on sale for $50. There's a discounted percent of 10%. So I could simply take $50 and multiply it with 10% that I have to change to a decimal, which is 0.10. Okay. If I were to draw a bar, and I said that this entire bar represents, oh no, the radio is on sale for $50. I'm sorry. Okay, if this is the entire bar and it represents the original price, okay, then I would, and since $50 is 10%, if I divided this bar into 10 pieces, okay, each bar would represent 10%. Okay, this bar would represent 10%. Now, I know that this bar also represents $50, okay? So, if I were to say that each bar was $50, 50, 50, 50, then how much was this radio originally priced? Well, it would be 50 times 10, which makes the radio $500. Wow, that's expensive. Okay, that would be using the bar method. Now let's say I didn't have the bar and I wanted to write an equation. Well, if I want to write an equation, I know that my original price item, I'm going to actually use another sheet here. The original price of the item, if I were to take that and multiply by the percent as a decimal, then I will get the discount price. Okay, now the original I don't know, so I'm going to use an O. The percentage I do know, it's 10%, so times 0.10. That's equal to the discount. The discount that I got was $50. So there's my equation. And this is my variable. Why don't I just use the x since it almost looks like a 0? So to solve this equation, I would take the 0.10 and divide it with the 50, since I'm doing the inverse. Again, I could simply use my calculator, and I will still get the same answer as I did earlier, which is that x is 500. So the original cost of the radio was $500. So that's how I would do it as an equation. And again, the bars are just another helpful way to help you see it. Okay, and on the back side, let's do a couple. So let's start with number 1. I'm going to show you using the bar method. The entire bar is going to represent the pretzel that cost $20. Now later on there was a sale price and it was reduced by 25%. So I'm going to take my bar and divide it into 25%, which means that I need 4 pieces. So this would be 25%. Now if I divide this $20 into 4 pieces, that would mean that each piece would be how many dollars? Well, since it's $20 for 4 pieces, each piece would be $5, because $20 divided by 4 equals 5. Okay, so that's the same as 25% of $20 is $5. So I get to save $5. So what is my new price? Well, I'm going to take $20 minus $5 and get my new price of $15. And there's our answer. Okay, let's look at number 4. Okay, for number 4, Malachi bought a new fishing rod. His fishing rod, $129.5.99. It was on sale. Okay, later they're going to add a sales tax. So what is the sale price? The final sale price. Alright, so it seems that he gets to save some money. So first we're going to take 15% of the $125.99. So we're going to simply take 15% as a decimal, 0.15. Of means multiply, so I'm going to multiply $125.99 in my calculator. And of course this is the part where you just have to go to your calculate it, and then come back over here and write your answer. So I got 18.8985. I'm going to round it to 18.90. 89 cents. The nearest penny would either be keep it at 89 or round it up to 90. Now I know how to round it because I'm going to look at the number 8 on the right side of the 9, and because 8 is 5 or larger, then 89 cents has to round to 90 cents, and that's how I get $18.90. So that's how much he's going to save. So we're going to then subtract $125.99 minus $18.90, and that's going to give us what did you get? $107.09. Okay, well now there's a tax, so now I have to do another calculation of another percent applied to the discount, and you can see it says right here, applied to the discounted total, because we always discount the price first, and then at the end this would be the first total, and then we call the later total the grand total. Have you guys seen that before on a receipt? We had a total, and then we had some extra tax or tip or like commission and things like that that they add back, and that would be the new grand total. So now the grand total, I'm going to take 3% of this price. So I'm going to take 0.03 times 107.99, and that's 3.2127, which is the same as 3.21. So now there's a tax of $3.21, and we all know a sales tax means that we should add it to the total. So now I'm going to add 321 to $107.09. So I'm going to add those two together. Add. And in my calculator, I got the answer, $110.30. That's my grand total here. So for number 4, $110.30. Okay, just a quick reminder, make sure you show all your work. If you need another piece of paper to do it, please do that. We will go over all of these answers in class tomorrow and review. Bye.